The era of the untouchable NBA dynasty is officially dead, and the weapon used to kill it wasn't a superstar trade or a miraculous playoff run, but a set of complicated financial rules hidden deep within a new collective bargaining agreement. For decades, the NBA was defined by its giants, teams like the Bulls, the Lakers, and the Warriors who found a way to stack talent, pay the tax, and keep winning year after year while the rest of the league watched in frustration. But the league office and the majority of team owners decided that enough was enough, leading to the creation of the most restrictive financial environment in the history of professional sports. At the heart of this destruction is something called the second apron, a terrifying financial tier that doesn't just cost owners money, but actively strips away their ability to manage a basketball team. In the old days, if an owner was wealthy enough and willing to pay the luxury tax, they could keep their core players together indefinitely, but those days are gone because the league has replaced simple cash penalties with roster-building paralysis. When a team crosses that second apron threshold, they lose access to the mid-level exception, which is the primary tool used by contenders to sign high-quality role players who can make the difference between a second-round exit and a championship. Without this tool, a team that is already expensive becomes top-heavy and incredibly fragile, unable to replace aging veterans or injured starters with anything other than players on minimum contracts. But the restrictions go even deeper and more personal for front offices because the new rules also ban these expensive teams from taking back more salary than they send out in trades, making it statistically almost impossible to upgrade the roster once you have 2 or 3 stars under massive contracts. Even the buyout market, a traditional lifeline for championship-starved veterans looking to join a winner late in the season, is now legally off-limits for teams in the second apron, effectively trapping them in a gilded cage of their own making. Perhaps the most devastating part of these new rules is the frozen pick penalty, a rule so aggressive it feels like it was designed by a movie villain to ensure no team stays on top for too long. If a team stays in the second apron for too long, their first-round draft pick 7 years in the future becomes frozen, meaning it cannot be traded under any circumstances, and if they continue to spend, that pick eventually drops to the very end of the first round regardless of their record. This creates a ticking time bomb for every general manager in the league because it means you aren't just sacrificing your current bank account to win now, you are systematically destroying the future of the franchise for a decade. We are already seeing the effects of this carnage across the league as teams like the Golden State Warriors, the very blueprint for the modern dynasty, are being forced to let legendary players walk away for nothing just to avoid the second apron's suffocating grip. The Phoenix Suns and the Minnesota Timberwolves are currently living through this experiment in real time, finding out that having 3 superstars is no longer a guarantee of success if you can't afford to put a single reliable bench player around them. The league's goal was to create parity, to ensure that every city has a chance to win and that the same 4 teams aren't in the finals every single June, but the unintended consequence might be a league of mediocrity where teams are forced to break up championship rosters before they even have a chance to defend their title. We are moving into an era of the one-hit wonder, where a team catches lightning in a bottle for a single season but is immediately forced to trade away their third-best player or a crucial defender because the math simply no longer works. This isn't just about billionaires saving money on taxes, it is a fundamental shift in how basketball teams are built, valued, and sustained, and it means the days of seeing a core group of players grow old together while collecting rings are likely over forever. In this new landscape, the draft becomes the only viable way to build a winner because rookie-scale contracts are the only remaining value in a league where every veteran role player is looking for a payday that triggers an apron penalty. But the draft is a lottery, a gamble that even the best scouts lose more often than they win, meaning the stability of the league is being replaced by a chaotic cycle of rising and falling that favors luck over long-term planning. The sheer complexity of these rules has turned NBA front offices into accounting firms, where the capologist is now just as important as the lead scout, and every single transaction is viewed through the lens of how it affects the team's apron status 3 years down the road. Fans who used to dream of their team trading for that one final piece are now met with cold reality and technical jargon about trade exceptions and aggregate salaries that explain why their favorite team is standing still while others move past them. The ultimate irony is that while the league wanted to stop super teams, they might have actually made the elite superstars even more powerful, as teams are now terrified to lose a star for nothing since they have no way to replace that salary slot under the new restrictions. This creates a desperate environment where teams overpay for mid-tier stars just to keep their cap space active, further bloating their books and pushing them toward the very apron that will eventually destroy them. The next dynasty isn't going to be killed on the court by a buzzer beater or a defensive stop, it's going to be dismantled in a boardroom because the cost of keeping a winning team together has become a professional death sentence for the franchise. As we watch the current titans of the league struggle to navigate these waters, it's becoming clear that the NBA has successfully engineered the end of the dynasty, but at the cost of the very greatness that made the league a global powerhouse in the first place.